And it's not like we were born with like a boundary setting manual that we grew up with. Nobody taught us this stuff. So we end up developing these codependent coping strategies. We become people pleasers, always afraid to say no and avoid any kind of confrontation. And in fact, many of us have had narcissistic parents. And for a narcissistic parent to teach their child boundaries, well, that would take their power away. And I hope you understand that in some small way that those new coping strategies that we created to survive our childhoods have made us into people pleasers to make our parents happy. And then as we grow up, as we get older, we become people pleasers to everyone, trying to make everyone happy. Everyone except for us. And we end up being the only ones that are unhappy here. But guess what? Today we're going to learn how to set boundaries like a pro. And by the end of this video, every narcissist that's in your life is just going to be sitting there scratching their heads and they're just going to be wondering, what happened? I don't understand. They don't actually know what hit them. And when it comes to boundaries, those narcissistic people in our lives, they just never got the memo. They never got the memo that boundaries actually exist, that boundaries are real. And narcissists, they're a lot like these little, boundary breaking ninjas that are just constantly finding ways to slip through the cracks and never respect anyone else's opinion but their own. But here's the deal. You have to set boundaries with a narcissist. It's an absolute must and it's a non-negotiable. And you're also going to want to know when those narcissists have crossed the line in the first place. And in my own story, it's just like quite often I didn't realize it was happening until it was too late. It was just like, oops, did I just miss something? And me personally, I let narcissistic people say and do all sorts of unacceptable stuff. And deep down, I knew it wasn't right. But I was clueless on how to handle the situation. I found myself, making excuses for them, thinking that we're all human and stuff. And I make mistakes. So maybe they just made a mistake. Maybe this was just a one-time thing. And then when those one-time things turn into 2 million time things, well, there's a pattern there. And it takes a while, but eventually I did see the pattern. And here's a truth bomb for you. Some people are just not meant to be in your life. And you know what? That's okay. And narcissists, those are people that maybe, just aren't meant to be in your life, especially if they don't respect your boundaries. And I know it's tough being a boundary setter. And the thought of just cutting a narcissist out may seem harsh, but sometimes it's necessary for your own well-being. It's like decluttering your house and getting rid of all those socks, the ones with the holes in them. And yes, I am calling narcissists emotional clutter because they are. And they are like those old socks with the holes in them. And you deserve being with somebody who's like not walking around with this hole in their heart, their hole in their souls. You don't keep socks with holes in them, no. So it's time to make room for those people who lift us up. So let's talk about growing your vision and trash removal. Now, I used to have this thought in my head that if someone did something wrong to me, I'd just kind of offer them forgiveness and just dance away with the grace of Grace Kelly and just kind of keep moving on with my life. And don't get me wrong, forgiveness is really important. But here's a harsh reality. If a narcissist doesn't fit the puzzle of your life, it's time to accept that. And when you clear out the narcissistic trash in your life, you actually end up creating space for a peaceful, happier life. And you can attract all kinds of just better quality people in your life. So what's the first step in boundary setting? You have to know when a boundary has been violated. And it's a lot like, trying to detect a narcissistic little rodent who just keeps sneaking into your cookie jar. You have to protect your cookies. Those are your cookies. And only you get to eat them. They're your emotions. They're your soul. And it doesn't matter how much a narcissist will beg for narcissistic supply. They don't get to eat your emotional energy cookies. Those are yours, not theirs. They're yours. And when you set a boundary, what you're doing is letting the world know that you have relationship standards. I hope you like this clip from my boundary video. The link to the full video is in the descriptions.